Hello, everyone. My name is Jennifer Escalera, and you are here on our free live teleseminar, How to Get Balance and Focus so you can fully experience your life with ease. And I am here with Greg Beckett. Just wanted to share a little bit about ourselves. I have a holistic practice in Pasadena, and I help women get relief from anxiety and stress so that they have more time to enjoy doing things that they love, nurturing themselves, and discovering how to magnetize their amazing man. And Greg is going to...
What do I do? I'm a motivational hypnotist and coach. I am in Los Angeles. I see people in my office. I also do some Skype and that sort of stuff. I use a lot of different techniques along with hypnosis and intuition and along with a lot of organic work, taking people from where they are to move them forward to where they want to go. I tend to use the 4 agreements quite a bit, which is something we're going to talk about, because it's simple and it's something to put into practice. And I like to use everything I do with each person where they're at. Everybody's just so individual. And I know I'm rambling, but everybody's so individual, and I can't stress that enough. And so it's this. Hi. I rambled today.
Yay. No, that's awesome. That's awesome. You're all good.
Yes. Today. I'm excited about talking.
Yay, that's good. That's good. So I just wanted to let everyone know, with Greg, as he mentioned, he has these classes that he uses the 4 agreements, and so that's why I wanted him to talk to us today. This is our 3rd teleseminar, and now we're getting into the agreements. And for today's call, we're going to address the first agreement, which is being impeccable with your word. And I fortunately have the book and the cards. I don't know if you guys have the book, or if you've read the book, or if you have the cards, but I wanted to play with the first agreement. And I intuitively felt like throughout the call, or maybe to start with one of the with this first, be impeccable with your word. So I have the cards in my hand right now, and I'm going to scramble them. And Greg, you don't have to immediately answer it because you may have another. But I just wanted to play with it. So maybe throughout the call, if we can address
universe.
it. Okay, so this first card that I pulled up for being impeccable with your word is to release the need to be right. Release the need to be right. So play with that with however you want. And
I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna start off with, this is my viewpoint of the 4 agreements, and it's by Don Miguel Ruiz, and I'm sharing with you my viewpoints, which everyone's going to have a different perspective based on where they are. When you said, repeat that card again.
Sure. Release the need to be right.
This is not from the 4 agreements, but this is something that I read not too long ago that really stuck with me, and it just popped in my head when you said that. When we're listening to somebody, are we listening to understand or to reply? When you're listening to someone's conversation, is it that anticipation so you can reply and say what you have to say and be heard, or to understand what they're saying to then reply? And I think if we're listening to understand, it allows us to be more impeccable with our word. It allows us to choose more clearly what we want to say because we're coming from a point of understanding, not just needing to get some sort of verbal stuff out. Now, when we're talking about being impeccable with our word, what really is important for me is that it's through our word that we create everything. And it's not just our word, because the word is not just what you speak, it's what you think. It's a force, it's an energy that we use to communicate and to create. It's not just about keeping your promise. It's not even, that's just a minute part of it, you know. It's about being honorable. to ourselves. And when we start these journeys of change, especially in the very beginning, it's like, oh, I want to change so-and-so, and I want to change this so they're not that way to me. And it really has nothing to do with anybody else. It's really all about ourselves and looking to see how we can change. And once we change, our life changes. It's not about our life changing for us to change. Does that make sense with you, Miss Escalera? It's I know. This word, this being impeccable with the word, our word is I like to talk about when I have clients sometimes about your word is your wand. There's even a book called Your Word is Your Wand. And I keep thinking about Harry Potter or magicians or all of these things. And have you ever said something to somebody that was maybe not kind, and you saw their face drop? Or you said something wonderful, and you see this smile brighten up? Because what you say has an impact. It's magical. When Harry Potter, whoever it is, puts their wand out, it's not their wand. They have to say words and then direct the wand to do what it does. And that's what we do every day. And how many times are we directing it at ourselves and telling ourselves things that are not true or not impeccable? And we sometimes take what other people think of us, their dream of us, what they've decided we are, and this goes back to a little bit of domestication, their perspective of who we should be. And so they have this perfect image of us that they taught us that we should be. We should weigh this amount. We should have this color hair. We should be this tall. We should be this short. We should be this. We should do this for a living. We should do that. They gave us these ideas of what we think is perfect, and we have accepted them. So then based on that viewpoint, we are now poisoning ourselves with our words. Oh, I'm not tall enough. Oh, I should be a doctor, not the telephone salesperson that I am. I should be this. We're always berating and judging and beating ourselves up based on someone else's viewpoint using our own words. Mm-hmm. So it's really interesting how words, not only with other people, but it's on ourselves, that we poison our life. It's so powerful that with one word we could destroy. If you think about, and I'm not going to get political, but I do want to talk just really quick. There's a few people running for an election in November. It doesn't matter who you're voting for. That doesn't matter. That's not what it's about. See how they use words on either side to cause fear in you for the other person. Right. Either way. That's how much power there is, that it can move a nation with just words and change the world. So when it comes to your own self, it's just as powerful. You paying attention to what you say and what you do is the first step of realizing who you even are and what your true thought processes are. We have things that I was told something growing up. I was told one of the things was, we all have these sayings. One of them was, charity begins at home. Charity begins at home. Charity begins at home. That means you take care of each other. Until I really started thinking about what those words mean and what home really means. And I found out home for me is that soul, that core part of me where I get desires and joys and urges to move forward and grow. That's my home. So charity begins with myself, being kind to myself verbally and all those sorts of things, and being gentle and sometimes being a little bit more pushy and persuasive because we know when we're not giving our best. And so once charity begins at home and we start taking care of ourselves, then we have more energy, more vitality, more freedom, more caring, more love, not only for ourselves, but to then give to others. But some of us tend to give so much to everybody else, we don't take the time to stop and look to be even charitable with our words and our actions and our force with ourselves.
Okay, can you go into that? Because that's a lot of what my clients face, is that they're always thinking about other people or doing for others, and they lose themselves. They don't take care of themselves, or they're too worried about if they do something outside of what maybe their family or their partners want them to do. So how can you apply being impeccable with your word with that?
Well, people have given the word selfish a horrible connotation. And care of oneself. Selfish is actually taking care of oneself. There's nothing wrong with taking care of oneself. How can you continue to give when you're bankrupt with yourself? You've got to put yourself, when the when the oxygen mask comes down in the airplane, they say, put it on yourself and then on the person or the child next to you. That's what it's about. Being impeccable with your word. Impeccable. Impeccable is not sinning against yourself. And that is, we talk about sin, and sin is not taking care of oneself. A sin is anything that you do that goes against yourself. And if you're exhausted and tired from taking care of everybody else, how is that helping anyone else? People may suffer, so to speak, quote unquote suffer, or not get what they want from you in the short term as you're learning to take care of yourself. But in the long term, everybody is doing better. And maybe what you're giving is not something you're supposed to be giving. Maybe you're just living on the whims of what other people want and thinking that you're supposed to fulfill them. And actually what you're doing is maybe possibly corrupting part of their life that they're not taking responsibility for themselves. Because what you're doing is taking responsibility for other people and not yourself. We're not talking about not putting food on the table for your child and bathing. That's not what we're talking about. Yes, there's many mothers and fathers and family members that do everything for everyone else, but if they don't take care of themselves, they're not good enough for anybody else.
Right.
You've got to give yourself so that you're strong enough to give to others. Remember, impeccability means without sin. It means, it's Latin. Pecus is sin, and then im is without. So without sin. And again, it's when you're impeccable, you're taking responsibility for your actions, but you're not blaming or judging. So we have habits that we do, that we need to start being impeccable with our word and listening and seeing what we're doing with our force, with our energy. Are we speaking word? Are our actions? I'm going to give you a personal, this is out there, I'm going to give you a personal experience right now. I'm a motivational hypnotist. I've been doing it part-time for I don't know how many years, full-time for the last several years. In the meantime, I started another side dessert business. And I did that because it's something I always wanted to do. I tell my clients to go after things they want to do. And I've had trouble because it's not serving me like it used to, and I want to sell it, but I don't let go of it. Mm-hmm. And so it's splitting my time. It's splitting so many things. And the truth is, I'm not being impeccable with my word. And I'm saying this on this call, so that means everybody's going to know this, and I have to do something about it. You know what I mean? It's like, okay,
right. Holding yourself accountable.
Yes, let's be real. It's a wonderful dessert business, and what happens is I've been stuck, and I've been working on it, looking at it, and I had the realization that I'm trying to hold on to something out of fear that I'm not going to get, or someone else will get more because they're going to make it bigger, and I'm not going to get from it. And I'm holding on to it instead of letting go, knowing I have more and more clients coming. I do already have this happening, but I'm clutching on to the old instead of being open and in faith with my belief of the new. And then I'm going to get even more and be able to sustain myself and help others. So when I talk about being impeccable with your word, when we're talking about it's our force and our thoughts, I found I had the aha moment when I was on vacation. I took a vacation, and I go, oh, because it gives you a chance to recharge. And I said, I'm not being honest and impeccable with my force on holding on. I'm not a holder-oner, so to speak. I'm not being true to my word. I'm not walking my talk. And once I had that aha moment, I'm now able to start putting into motion, releasing that business, whether it's putting it for sale, and if it sells or not, that's not my problem. I've already put it in motion and said, okay. And the day that I actually started doing that, I got 2 more clients.
Oh, wow.
Because there's space for it. I'm not worrying. Do you understand in that personal example, I wasn't walking my talk. I wasn't being impeccable with my word. And it's the same thing when I needed to take a vacation. I need to take time for myself. We all need to do that so that we can give. Look, I'm going to do another personal one. We're supposed to give things away. I was raised Catholic. I don't know anybody else. Raise your hand in your own world going yes, or whatever else, religion, or whatever we got. And it's all beautiful. It's all okay. But I was told to give the best away. That basically told me I was undeserving of good. That was an agreement that I agreed to unconsciously. Now I'm willing to buy myself something good or keep something for myself to know that I deserve and still give to others. There's enough. We suffer, I think, at times. First of all, we're addicted to suffering, the whole world, and we buy into all of this poison of gossip and things against ourselves, against other people. And that turns into fear and lack and thinking we can't have or we're not supposed to have. Let's stop going for what we're afraid of or trying to keep at bay what we're afraid of and go towards what we want with our force, which is our word, being impeccable with our actions, being impeccable with our life source.
So would that be something that would make someone more stressed or anxious in their life?
No, it would make them less stressed and less anxious in their life to move towards what feels lighter to them. To say, no, I'm sorry, I really am overbooked. To stop overstretching themselves and give themselves maybe 1 day a week. Maybe you can't do that. Maybe you start with 1 day a month. Whatever's right for you, say, this is for me. I deserve this. I do all the work. I should be able to pay myself, reward myself with this time to re-energize, to recharge.
How do you shift your mindset if you're a person who might feel guilty if you were to say no to a family member or your partner or even your own business?
Right.
How do you see that applying with being impeccable with your word?
Well, if you're always saying yes and never saying no, then how are you going to be able to recharge and really take time? The other thing is we're living in fear, and you actually said something else. You said guilt.
Guilt, yeah.
Guilt, I had a beautiful phrase someone told me years ago, and it's always stuck with me. You should only feel guilty if you hurt someone on purpose.
Yeah, I've heard that, yeah.
So if someone...
Or say, I'm sorry.
Yeah, if someone asks you to do something, and you say, you know what, I'm sorry, I'm stressed, I'm unable to do this. If they feel bad, and we're looking at the 4 agreements, don't take it personally, and we'll get to that one the next time, But don't take it personally. Maybe you needed to tell them no so they can learn how to find other resources for themselves, and they can grow. Why do you think you're the only one capable to handle everything? You think you're the God of the universe.
Yeah.
Give other people chances to grow and learn and expand.
To kind of take away their own
We're actually
personal
being
growth.
selfish. Yeah, we're being selfish by not allowing them to grow. Even with our children, there's sometimes parents that do everything for their child. How are they going to go out in this world without some bumps and bruises? Even if you were the perfect parent, did everything perfectly, your child came into this world with its own ideas, its own personality and challenges and stuff, and even being what we call perfect, they still are going to possibly resent you because you weren't perfect the way they needed you to be perfect. which might have been to be more disciplined or be more this or that, because we're all created here to not always get completely along so we can grow and learn from the challenges. There's no such thing as a life without challenges. It's how we manage them and how we look at them and agree to accept or not accept them and agree to when you agree to do something that you don't want to do, you are sinning against yourself. You're not being impeccable. And that's the worst you could do. When you do things that you don't want to do, meaning like you said, you overextend yourself even though, I don't have time for this, but I'm doing it, you are sinning against yourself.
Yeah.
You are destroying yourself slowly. And so then people come and see you and me, which we love that they're there, but I want to give them the tools to say no.
Yeah,
Sorry.
exactly.
Our setup is I had a wonderful client who was always over to high profile, traveling a lot, and scheduling was difficult. And she writes books and things like that, lovely woman. And what happened, what we did was we put a calendar of what she already has planned for the next year. We put it up, and she didn't realize she was already planned for a whole year, but because it wasn't written down, she could never see it, so she was still saying yes. Now that it was written down, let's say she agreed to do an article or this or that, she then had to plan the time to actually do it instead of always being on deadline to get something out. So once we did all of that, already booked up, and she started saying, I'm sorry, I'm booked for 2016. We'll have to look at 2017.
Mm-hmm.
And from that came a lot of power, realizing on paper how she already is in demand and needed, but that she can't give all of that without giving to herself. So we took 2 days a week that she took for herself. And it didn't happen overnight. 1 week she didn't take any. The next week, did you take one? Because there was, that anxiousness or that challenge started rearing its head. Well, did you do what you said you were going to do? No? Okay, there's nothing I can help you with. You need to do what we said.
Mm-hmm.
It's about disciplining ourselves, too.
So the tip is about disciplining ourselves and maybe using a calendar or something to organize our lives so that we give ourselves permission to say no.
That's true, but let's say it's not about organization for somebody. Let's say it's just not being able to say no, right? And then you say, I'm going to start saying no, but you never do. Well, how is that happening? You have to take action on your choices. It's in the action where change happens. It is only in the action. Even coming to see me as a hypnotherapist or a motivational hypnotist, seeing you and all the things, wonderful things that you do or anyone else. We can talk, you can read 1,000 books. It is in the action of what you learn. That is the change. It's not going to be perfect, so don't beat yourself up. Be impeccable. Great, I did it once. Great, I did it twice. I'm learning. It's a learning process. Where is the ultimate place we're all rushing to get to?
Yeah. Right.
We're in a hurry to get nowhere. To our grave.
Mm-hmm.
We're in a hurry to get a chance. We're working so hard to get a chance to take that vacation, but if we don't schedule it, we're not going to take it. And scheduling it means committing to time to ourselves. And when people ask, can you do this then or before you go? No, sorry. And people will respect you more because they know you're telling the truth.
Mm-hmm.
People will then start questioning whether they're going to just pawn stuff on you or really need your help because you're respecting yourself. If you don't respect yourself and your time and your values, no one else is going to.
Mm-hmm.
You're so worried, all of us, worried about what other people think when we're not even worried about what we think about ourselves.
Right.
We need to know how and what we think about ourselves first, and it's not in alignment who we really want to be. We need to change those agreements and start working towards that first. Other people will drift away or drop off or we'll argue with them because it just happens that we no longer have the same system. Like if you start saying no, the person always says, can you pick up my kids or can you cook this for me or can you do this? Say, no, not today. They'll find another way. They always do, or they'll do it themselves. You're not here to be responsible for everyone else. Yes, as a collective, we're here to be responsible as humanity. But if we take care of ourselves, that's already giving to that collective
Mm-hmm.
in a strong way. Just taking personal responsibility for everything that you create in your life, because all of this stress is created because you have more fear of saying no, but now it's too painful what you're going through, whatever it is. So now you're looking for new ways, and it starts with no. Or I appreciate you asking me, maybe next time. Or this is my time that I've set aside for me, 10 minutes every morning, or 15 minutes, or 5 minutes, and there's no children, or no roommate, or no partner. So no matter who it is, you still have, you're number one.
Mm-hmm.
If a mother is so tired and so ill, let's say it's a new mother, she didn't have nourishment, she didn't take care of herself, so she can't lactate, so now the baby can't eat. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But if she took care of herself, and this is all kind of metaphorically speaking, but in an example, and she was healthy and was able to produce milk, then the baby can eat.
Right.
Same as your job. We need vacation. Listen, there's companies that don't want you to take vacation because they're only thinking about themselves. You also, they're being selfish. But we go, okay, but we have to take care of ourselves. No, I'm taking my vacation. What are you saving them up for if you never take them? I know people that have 3 months worth of vacation days, and they can't accrue anymore. That's the only reason why they're taking them. Why don't you take 2 weeks off? You're going to lose your job? All right. That gives you an opportunity to do something else. I know it's scary, but maybe that's where the universe is pushing you anyway. That you're in a job you've never liked. It's about hearing and listening to yourself to allow you to grow. Some people are in the same job 30 years and love it. That's great. Some people are in the same job 30 years and hate it. But they were too afraid. It's that going through that fear that we grow. Being impeccable. I'm afraid, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Right. So I want to throw in some of these cards again and get your input.
Okay. Was that enough for that card?
Are you up for the challenge?
Sure. I'm on the spot. Let's do it.
I know you love that. Okay.
I'm okay. Yeah. That's
so,
right. Always on the spot.
That's right. So we're stressing ourselves. So this one says, manifest your true intentions. And on the back of the card it says, regardless of what language you speak, your intent will manifest through the word. What you dream, what you feel, and what you really are will be manifested through the word.
Yep, and I even have that page right here in my book.
Awesome.
And they also say that in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word is God. Through the Word, you express your creative power. It's through the Word that you manifest everything. In your intention. You don't even speak. If you're doing meditation, that's intention. If my intention is to make a better life for myself, then I have to put into action those things that correspond with that intention, whatever that means to me. If I desire more free time, then I have to schedule it in if that's how I work. Or I have to stop at noon every day and take my lunch at work, whatever it is. Your intention and the follow-through. It's again, we go back to force. That force, using that force to create what you want, to manifest. You know, the secret, they said, build this cardboard thing and put up the pictures. That was beautiful. And then people took those cardboard things and put them under their bed and wished on them every night. And then didn't even think about them. When you see them, you remember why. You have feelings. You know what you want. And it keeps you focused. You have to see things. You have to continually work in a loving, caring way. There's times that I'm not true. I get upset with myself, and then I got to remember, wait a minute. Sometimes it's in the waiting and allowing things to shift that is part of being impeccable. Giving myself permission to hold back. Let's see what happens. And that's what happened. I stopped beating myself up, and I had that total opening of saying, I'm not being impeccable with my thought about that business.
Right.
Because I had to sit back and look at it in a different way. So that allowed me to grow in a different way. to manifest what I'm looking for. Got 2 new clients. I'm not saying it's correlated, or I'm saying it's correlated, however you want to look at it. Maybe they're going to call anyway, but it was a sudden opening, and then it just keeps rolling.
So that leads me to another card. Okay, this one says, enjoy heaven on earth. Impeccability of the word can lead you to personal freedom, success, and abundance. You can attain the kingdom of heaven from this one agreement. Be impeccable with your word.
Yeah. How many of you would raise your hand if I could see them that this stress and what you're living through right now and not taking care of yourself is a living hell? Putting up with family members that abuse you verbally, allowing to bring old thoughts from the past into your, because the past doesn't exist, it's only in our mind, but continually giving it energy and feeding into it, that's hell. So it's changing those thoughts, changing your force, changing your ideas, changing your agreements, putting it into action, working through our fears. It's our, a fear or doubt planted in your mind can create endless drama. People create spells on each other. Oh, hey Denise, looks like you gained some weight. That's a spell, right? Mm-hmm. That is a black magic spell, so to speak. And with that, Denise, if she chooses to believe and take someone else's word instead of her own, oh yeah, I need to lose weight, I guess I'm not here. Oh, this ruins her day. Or she says, are you kidding me? I already know I've lost 5 pounds. I'm not going to take it personally. I don't know what their problem is. She's deciding how to be impeccable with her word. Or yeah, I gained 10 pounds. You know what? My husband loves it. So I don't care.
Right, yeah.
None of their business. What is her word for herself?
Yeah.
And that's how you're creating your world. You're always creating your destiny, your hell or your heaven all the time. You're just choosing, or you're not choosing, and you're allowing it to choose for you. It's about taking personal responsibility and choosing and backing it up with action. Oh my gosh, is there a theme here?
Yep.
Yeah, taking personal responsibility and taking action with what you choose.
Right.
And it may be lonely if you don't have your best friend to gossip with anymore, or it may be a little challenging that you're not in the know about everything, but you know what? You're not even in the know about yourself right now. Possibly. But you're in the know about everybody else because you don't want to look at yourself.
Right.
It's easier to be distracted than to go through this. Yeah, I'm not saying it's easy peasy, beautiful covered girl, whatever, It's a challenge, and it's a practice without judgment.
Right.
And we're believing other people's opinions over our own. Mm-hmm. It's time to have your own opinion, true opinion about yourself. And it can't go against you. Say, I'm great today. You know what? I'm great today. I think I'm going to start eating better because I deserve it. I'm not going to worry about the weight. Let's say I know, me personally, I need to, I'll take 10 pounds off. That'll be cool. And, going swimming with your family on vacation really reminds you.
Oh, yeah, I know.
A family reunion, I went to a family reunion, and, I had to face some things because when you get family together, we've lived together off and on, cousins and stuff. There's things that you have to let go of or look at why are you holding on to them from the past. And how is that being impeccable to yourself? So let's say I go, oh, this swimsuit doesn't fit. I need to, start working out and stuff. So instead of saying I have to do this regimented, I know I'm not very good regimented that way. So I start with, am I going to choose for energy, for source, for food source, for energy for my body, am I going to choose the candy bar or the chicken with a little bit of rice? Or the salad and then put chicken on it and maybe even some dressing? It's still better than the candy bar and skip lunch. I'm choosing and being impeccable with my choice to allow me to grow into a lifestyle, into a program for myself.
Right. I like how you use the word "I deserve it," because I also, since having my son over a year ago, I still have that baby weight, and I try not to beat myself up, but now I'm like, okay, I really need to be in action, and I like the fact of saying I'm going to eat better because I deserve it. I deserve to eat better, feel better. It's part of this other card, express your love.
Can I say something real quick?
Yes.
I mean, before we go to express your love, I want to say something about weight. I want to say something about when people talk about weight, weight's not about food, it's about emotion and feelings. And so you're going to have to go through those to allow. But when we talk about weight, what's the greatest thing I heard from somebody, and I had used with, it's just really wonderful, is I will allow myself to be at a weight that I am happy and safe and comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And I say the word safe because there's many people that have had a lot of things happen in their life that they don't feel safe in their body. So they gain weight to protect themselves or to not be seen or to be seen or to hold their ground.
Okay.
And they can start losing weight knowing that they're not going to get too thin to be noticeable or have to deal with men or women or other issues, that they do it gradually as they feel safe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Not what other people's opinions are, but they'll know what's safe.
Right.
So if they don't feel safe and they're not losing any weight, then they need to work on why they're not safe.
Yeah.
And start removing things little by little so they can feel safer, maybe 3 pounds less. And then learn that they're okay that way and happy. And then maybe 2 pounds less.
Mm-hmm.
It's really not about fitting into that one, size that everybody wants. It's about how do I feel safe and comfortable with myself. Now go back to love. Go ahead.
Right,
what were you going to say?
So
next card.
So this card. So I think I'm going to have this be the last card because we have quite a few people on the line, and just in case if people wanted to ask some questions, I wanted to open it up.
Sure.
Okay, so this card says, impeccability of the word can be measured by your level of self-love. If you love yourself, you will express that love in your interactions with others, and that action will produce a like reaction.
Mm-hmm. There's people in our lives that we know there's always going to be a problem. In your interaction, there's always a challenge. You see it. You can see it from the outside. It may not be with you, but you see. Might be a brother, a sister, a cousin, whatever it might be, myself, and you can see it. But when you're kind to yourself, those things start falling away. And then people start being kinder to you because you're not fighting. It's not about who wins. There's no winning in the arguments and stuff. It takes two. Sometimes there's things based on principle. Well, let's talk about it. Sometimes you can't talk to them. Okay, sometimes other people that we have problems with don't even know there's a problem, nor will they ever acknowledge that there's a problem, so that's the problem. So you have to go within yourself to find peace. It's for yourself.
Right, exactly.
It's going back to, it's all about you.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And sometimes making those choices, it's not about making other people happy.
Yeah, like your personal integrity.
Right.
Your self-love.
Right. So when I choose the right portion of meal, or I choose all the dessert and go running out the door because it's sitting there, where am I loving myself when I eat right? That's, I love you. I want you to. If we're not doing well for ourselves, it's really interesting. There's a self. They're talking about sin begins with rejection of self. Self-rejection is the biggest sin that you can commit. In religious terms, self-rejection is a mortal sin, which leads to death. So when we're not taking care of ourselves, we're saying we want to die. That's like an alcoholic or someone that smokes 3 packs of cigarettes a day or whatever, and it's no judgment on it. That's what they're doing. But they're saying, I'm not happy in this life. I want to, or drugs or whatever, I don't want to feel what I'm feeling. and I'm okay with slowly killing myself. Hey, and that's okay. That's their choice. You know, I don't have this halo over my head and every time I do something, you know. Everybody's a work in progress, and that's okay. But everybody's at a different level. And then you find people at the same level, and then suddenly you grew away from them because you changed, or they changed. And that's okay. But still stay integrity with yourself, or impeccable with yourself. Because impeccability will lead you to more happy times. Even if someone's mad at you, you go to the next agreement, don't take anything personally, you're like, that's their problem, I didn't solve it for them, so they're mad at me. Well, they'll find another way. But I'm happy that I get to have time with my child. That might be being impeccable. You know, you're talking about, you know, you had a son, and so now, you know, you have a choice of taking on an extra client, which might mean more money and maybe a trip or whatever, or you feel like for your thing, you love your kid, and he's like a friend to you in some ways. You know, you like bonding with him, so you choose that instead.
Yeah.
Instead of making more money to pay someone to take care of the kid.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, I choose to work part-time, so I have time with him.
Yeah. Or with
I want to open up,
with whatever.
Yeah, I want to open up this time and see if anyone has any questions for Greg or myself on anything that we've discussed. And so if you have a question or a comment, press *6, and I'll write your names down if you want to just say your name, and then if we have multiple people, then I'll call you out by first name. So go ahead and press *6 to unmute yourself.
Look at that, no questions today.
No questions.
I answered everything. Considering I don't have the answer.
No one can see you.
Considering I don't have. Really?
We won't recognize your voice. We're being impeccable with our word right now. We're challenging ourselves doing it. Anyone?
So everybody's got it, which is great. If you hit *6 at any point, we'll stop. We'll keep talking. Or maybe, we won't.
Yeah. So we have about 10 more minutes.
Right. Can I ask you a couple questions?
Sure.
Thanks. Cool. Because
Yeah.
you're talking about helping people. This whole thing is about helping people have a better life for themselves.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What would you say is the main component, and this is generalizing, but for everyone, for most people, that helps them actually move forward?
What is the main component of helping people to move forward?
I know. Sorry, that's my little card. I just pulled out of my head.
Oh, excellent. I would say self-acceptance. You know, learning.
So that goes back to being impeccable with your word, right?
Yeah, learning who you are, loving yourself, getting connected with your feelings and your purpose, seeing life as a journey, as something that's playful and fun, and you just don't take life so seriously, getting out of the ego.
Right. And to do that, you have to start knowing who you are to know what's playful and fun.
Right.
Or make room.
I think there has to be a level of trust and faith. You know, whether it's about faith in the sense of whether you're spiritual or religious or agnostic, atheist, whatever you believe in. It's just, I think it's having that understanding that there is a bigger force So trusting that it's going to work out. It just might not work out on your terms or when you want it, but things will manifest as long as you stay connected to that vision or that hope.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Hope's a huge word.
Hope is a huge word. Yeah. I like that. I mean, faith, believing in yourself, breathing.
Right. Saying, yes, I can. When everyone else says, no, you can't. Yeah, I deserve it. I'm worthy. I'm worthy of this healthy food. I'm worthy of this time off to go to the Six Flags. You know, I'm worthy of, and paying yourself, so to speak, quote unquote, for all the work that you do every day. Even if it's 5 minutes of payment or 10 minutes of payment, where some people wait until the end of the day, by the way, when they have no energy, to then pay themselves instead of the beginning of the day, because they deserve the best, and then give to everybody else. No one's saying to not help, right? But give to yourself first.
Right. So I just want to get clarity. So for people who are listening, how to assess, how does one know to make changes in their life by first being impeccable with yourself? How would someone, is that a step? Is it a process?
If you're on this call, something's not right for you. You believe there's something wrong, right? You believe there's changes to be made. You're not feeling 100% or happy, completely happy. So look and say, why? Why? What is it? What is it that I'm not happy with? I don't like that I have to take my kids every day to blah, blah, blah. Or I don't like that my husband, or I don't like that I do this or say this. Okay, so how do we not do that? And it's not how do we not do that. What do you want then in opposite? I would like to have more time on the afternoon. Great. How can you, and not have to drive the kids everywhere? Great. So how do you do that? Do the kids do less? Do the kids, do you hire someone to drive the kids? Do you carpool with other mothers? What is it? Let's look for solutions instead of sitting in the mire of it all. But we know what we don't want. That's the whole thing. We know what we don't want. So now that you know what you don't want, let's turn it around for what you do want, because the universe cannot give you what you don't want.
Okay.
I don't want to be anxious. Okay, so what do you want? It's anxious. That's all the universe hears. Anxious, anxious. What do you want then? I want to be calm. So then the universe will hear calm and bring that. And start letting you think in ways to be more calm. Mm-hmm. Ask for what you want, not for what you don't want. That is huge.
That is huge. I say that a lot to my clients.
And most people don't know what they want.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes me included. They go, I don't want, what do I want? I stop myself. That's the practice. You stop yourself. When you hear those, I don't want to do that. Well, what do you want? Stop telling somebody you don't want to do that. What do you want?
Right.
I just want to sit by the pool. I don't want to go out on the boat. Okay. I want to sit by the pool. Cool, sit by the pool. Whatever it is. I'm just making those examples up because I was on a vacation. Am I going to rub that in? I took a vacation. I had to be impeccable with my word and take time off and do that for me, which actually energizes you to do better.
When you're impeccable with
your soul, you took that time, your soul, your body, you're re-nourishing, and you're saying you're worthy. You're teaching yourself that you're worthy. And as a matter of fact, sometimes when you're out there, you get these great ideas to do other things for your job, whoever you work for, or yourself, or to make changes, because you're out of that same cycle. So by treating yourself as you're worthy, changes something that then allows you to change something else. It's also a different kind of cycle. It's an upward cycle instead of a lower cycle.
Right. So how do we reach you? How do we learn more about the work that you do or what you're doing now?
I'm on Facebook. We have Hypnosis LA page. I also hypnosisla.com. You can call 310-288-7865. I think I also have information on Yelp in Los Angeles. I think I'm in LinkedIn, Greg Beckett, all sorts of ways. We all have Google and everything, so if you want me, you can find me.
Yeah. And what about...
But I can't find you because I don't know you, you know what I mean? If I want you, Jen, I can find you too. Oh, Jennifer Clara. You know?
What about your classes? Are you doing any classes?
I'm going to start a class with the 4 agreements in the fall. I'm not doing one this summer. A lot of people are on vacation. If someone were to get a group of people together that are local or even on Skype and they want to put it together and want to do it, hey, let me know. That's cool. We can make some sort of arrangement. Also, I teach people, if there's anybody out there that's already in healing modalities or has interest in becoming a hypnotist or hypnotherapist, I also certify people in that. So, and that's hypnosistraininglosangeles.com, or just call us, get a hold of me at Hypnosis LA. So there's a lot of little things. If you have an office that you want to have someone come in and teach hypnosis and self-hypnosis to your office, or book club group, or whatever, let's make it fun. Let's just learn and share and make our lives better.
That's right. Oh, that's so good, Greg. That's so good.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you were able to share. We do have a couple more minutes. If there is anyone that has a question or a comment, go ahead and press *6 to unmute yourself. All right. Okay.
We trance them out. We trance them out on the call.
Yes, well, thank you, everyone, for joining us, and I hope that you guys will continue to join us next time. Greg and I are going to continue with the other 3 agreements.
The other one, the next one, just so we know, don't make assumptions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So look out for your email. And to find me, you can go to my Facebook, and that is through Kosha Wellness Center. Make sure to like or join my page. My website is also www.koshawellness.com. You can always schedule a free complimentary discovery session and see if we can work together. So hope you guys have a beautiful day. Remember to be impeccable with your word. Love yourself, spread the love, and have a good one. Talk to you guys later.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.